Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the BashTalk podcast. Today I've got a special guest, Matthew Hayes, aka the White Rhino. He's a really strong guy from our local area, and he competes in the sport of strongman. And he does have a really interesting story for us as well, with regards to some of the experiences he's had in his life as well. And Matt, if I can just ask you to give us a quick blurb about yourself, just like a little intro about yourself, just for our viewers and listeners, please.
Yeah, no problem. I'm currently 38 years old. I turned 39 at the end of January, so most people would think that I'm getting towards the end of my strongman career as it goes. I was a late starter. I didn't start in strongman until I was 31. The reason how I got into it was just by chance, really. I kind of fell into it. I dislocated my knee playing cricket. I was a useful cricketer and playing at the top level of the sport, like amateur level in first 11 cricket from the age of 14 years old, taking wickets and scoring runs. But at the age of 24, I suffered a lateral dislocation of my right knee patella, and it was quite severe. So that was knee surgery to put that right. When they went in, on that injury, the consultant said that it had come out when it shot out and then it come back and it pinged back in that violently that it smashed part of my thigh bone off, and I tore the majority of my cartilage that was in my knee and smashed part of my kneecap as well. So after that, my rehab was instructed by the physios just to start weight training to build up the muscle around it to support the knee joint. So hence, that's what I did. And then it just went. I was always training from the age of about 15 in the gym, but obviously when we were playing cricket, I didn't want to get too bulky. But then on the flip side, I was playing rugby as well. So it's where do you draw the line down the middle somewhere? But yeah, cricket was my main sport at that age because my dad played. My dad played at a useful level as well. So that's how I got into it. Started rehabbing my knee. I was in the gym. I was training at Intershape Fitness over in Cone. And the legend who ended up being my mentor, Mr. Lee Bowers, ended up taking me under his wing. So I just went from strength to strength. I did my first competition in April 2013, which was Blackburn and Darwen's Strongest Man. Now, statically, with my static lifts, I knew I was up there, and I went into that competition thinking, yeah, I'm going to smoke everybody here, no problem. And then I got my arse handed to me, and I finished in last. But in the static lifts, I competed with them, so I thought, right, okay, back to the drawing board. I know what I need to go and do here. Went and worked on it, and then from that, then my next 3 competitions on the bounce from that, I won them all. And then it's very rarely in any competition since that I've not podiumed.
Wow. So, in terms of the kind of competitions that you've done, so
yeah,
for the people at home who are not too familiar with strongman, it's pretty similar to what the world's strongest man type of competition is, similar type of lifts and competitions.
The events are very similar. Obviously, that is the pinnacle for a lot of athletes. I believe I started too late, but you never say never. All the events are the same. I've got to deadlift cars on frames. I've got to carry 2 motorbikes on a yoke weighing 420 kilo over a 30-meter course. The giant tyre flips. I think the biggest tyre I flipped in a competition was 500 kilo over a 10-meter course. There's the Bass circle, which is the one that you've got to get up and stand up on your chest and then walk around in a 360-degree loop. Everything really. The keg toss, that's another crowd catching eye pleaser. One event which I've not done that many times, but I've become very good at very quickly. Another show-stopping event would be the log press again. That's a brutal event. And there's some seriously sick strength at the minute with people pressing over 200 kilos above their head. It's unreal.
Yeah. So what's your favourite? Your personal best?
Personal best lift or personal best event?
We'll start with personal best event first, and then your best lift.
Right. Well, I'd have to say the deadlift is my go-to event. It's very rarely in a competition where I've finished outside the top 3. in that event. It's usually a go-to event for me and a banker event where I'd score good points in. And the one after that would have to be the super yoke, because although I stand at 6'2" and I've shredded a bit of weight at the minute, I'm down to 23 stone, but I can move very well for a big lad. When I was playing rugby, I was probably one of the only 20-stone wingers that was about. So I can shift, or I could shift anyway before I broke my legs. I don't know if I still can. That's something that we'll have to test in a few months, I suppose.
So you know when you made the shift, and so you started in your first competition in 2013. Now obviously you're used to competing all your life anyway because of cricket, but in terms of the parallels, obviously cricket is like a team sport. You're all together and you're all kind of going one team against the other. But with strongman, it feels like it's a little bit of a solo effort. Maybe you train together with people, but it's a solo effort. But how did that first competition feel mentally for you?
I was buzzing. I was up for it. I will tell you this. The adrenaline rush going into the competition and before every event is like nothing I've ever experienced before, because it's you're wanting to succeed, you're wanting to do well, and it's just a lot of the time it's mind over matter. Like the mind will be telling you to do it and your body's saying no, but it's all the power of the mind really, and it depends how far your mind's willing to push your body, because the body will be wanting to give up before the mind is. So it's just a case of saying, come on, let's go. It's just that adrenaline rush. It's unreal. The sturge you get, is standing up on the back, massive crowd roaring you on. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, because I think we already know each other. Just for the context for the listeners and viewers, me and Matt know each other from a mutual friend, Mohammed Yaqub Ali over at Mopower. He's got
top man.
He's got all the equipment, and we've done a bit of training and stuff. But I did realize, like, I've seen you train, and I've seen some of the other guys, and I've seen some of you guys compete as well in footage. And I've noticed when you mention the mental strength, it plays a massive factor, doesn't it? Because you just see people kind of going through that peak and a barrier where a lot of normal people would just give up, whereas you just see the strongmen just like somehow pulling through. I don't know how you guys do it, but
I've passed out. I've passed out a few times. I've pushed myself that hard.
Yeah. Is that where like you get all the smelling salts or something? They kind of just charge you up.
You use the smelling salts before a lift, but yeah, you are right. Obviously, if somebody does pass out, that's what that was the smelling salt primary purpose. That's what they were brought out for. You used to see guys on a rugby field getting knocked out. That's what they used to use to bring them round.
Powerful stuff, isn't it? But you know, with
boxers as well, MMA fighters, it's all the same stuff what they use to bring them round if they get sparked out.
Yeah. So you know, with so you mentioned obviously deadlifts your favorite lift. What's your biggest or personal best kg lift for that deadlift?
Currently, it's 360 kilo, which was done 7 years ago. Was it 6 years ago in 2014 at a push-pull event in Darwin. It was a team event. I teamed up with Tom Linklater, who is a guy that I train with. He's another strong guy. Tom's moved kind of away from strongman now and gone into powerlifting, but I still train with Tom because he's helped me rejig my deadlift technique, so I don't hitch anymore. So I've got a much smoother, cleaner pull. Although I've not pulled a bigger weight, I'm more happier with the technique, the way it's going, that in future I will far surpass that 360 pull. So, yeah, currently it's 360 kilo. My best recent lift is only 15 kg off that, and that's when I did that competition in September. So that was less than 10 months after my accident. And basically, after I had my accident, the consultant said I'd be lucky to walk again. There was only a 15% chance of me keeping my right foot. And I think if it hadn't been for Julie, my good lady, and support, honestly, she said there's no way you're taking his foot off. And then they were like, well, he might need 4 or 5 more operations. He said, well, that's what you're going to have to do then. So I kept my foot. I've not needed any further surgery because of the way I've rehabbed myself. And
I was going to say, I'm just going to ask you to pause and I'll tell you why. Because now I think because I was going to lead into it. So I was going to talk about the incident. But let's just get right into the nitty gritty of it. So about a year ago now, has it been?
It was on the 13th of October 2019.
So on that date, you were just out about taking the dogs for a walk, is that right?
I was just out walking. I didn't have any dogs with me. I was just out doing some early morning cardio. And I took a tumble off a path down a river embankment, about 40 foot. Rolled, bumped and lumped all the way down, and I smashed both my legs. I was still conscious by when I came to a standstill. And I tried to stand up, and basically I stood up on my knees, and the lower parts of my legs from the knee joint down stayed on the floor. I suffered 6 breaks in total, 4 in my right leg, 2 in my left leg, and both ankles dislocated. And then I don't know if you can see it on there or not, but there's scars on my head as well, where there was a big flap of skin hanging off my head. So yeah, that was an interesting morning.
So you know when like I did mention, for the benefit of the listeners, I'm not gonna try and delve too much into certain aspects of it, but there are obviously some questions that I'd like to ask. And in terms of obviously once it's happened, and you're at the bottom of the embankment and you're injured and you know you're in a spot of bother. How did you get recovered from there? As in, were you?
I crawled out with the help of Julie.
Wow.
I crawled out, got up to the top, got back to the main road. The ambulance was already on its way. Luckily, it was a good job because, I mean, fair enough. The NHS did an amazing job with me. They really did. But the 2 ladies that they sent to try and get me into the ambulance, bearing in mind me and Julie had managed to get myself to the top of the embankment and then onto the main road. And then the 2 paramedics they sent were two older women and tiny and was about the size of Yoda. So for them to try and lift me into the back of the ambulance, it got to the point where they were nearly calling for the fire brigade. And then this is where Julie I don't know where she got it from, but she just lifted me into the ambulance on her own.
Wow. That's impressive, man. So at this point, you've just been rushed off. You're off to the hospital, and you then get your various diagnoses because they've done the X-rays, MRI scans, and everything they need to do.
I was in resus for 4 to 5 hours before they operated on me because they couldn't stabilise me. My heart rate was in excess of 200 beats per minute for about 25 minutes, which would have killed most people. I don't know how I survived that. And my blood pressure was unreadable for 4 hours. So they just couldn't take a reading. So my adrenaline was through the roof. They give me they give me a shot of ketamine straight into the stream. So because they wanted to reset my ankles before they operated to put them back in, click them, but the dislocations before they actually operated on me. And I thought I'd been abducted by aliens, to be honest with you. I was being whizzed around the hospital at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I thought I was upside down on the hospital roof and everything. So yeah, that was an experience. And then when I come to, I just remember saying to Julie, "Have they put my legs in yet?" They did it about an hour ago. I didn't even know they'd done it.
So what came first in terms of the recovery period? So I'm guessing you had some kind of emergency surgery, and then you started.
Yeah, once they'd stabilised me, and I come out of resus, they operated on me for 4 hours. Obviously, I got put onto the critical ward because of obviously of where I'd been previously and where my heart rate was and my blood pressure and things like that. Once I'd come to and come round the following day, I was told the surgery was a success. I found out then that I have got it's pinned and plated in my left leg, so I've got about probably 14, 15 centimetre scar down the left side of my leg, and then like a half moon shaped one around the top of my left ankle where it's pinned and plated on both sides. but it's held up. That leg, in terms of recovery, was actually 6 weeks ahead of my right leg, and still is. I still suffer with pains when I'm getting up in the morning. If I've spent any time on my feet, I can, like, say, if I go and do, I've not done a full strongman competition since my injuries. I've only done that deadlift competition.
Yeah.
And even after that, the following day, I was struggling to walk just because of the pressure I'd put on my feet and my legs and whatnot. So slowly but surely, I'm improving day by day. And it could be another 12 months before I'm fully fit, before I've got no pain. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I'm glad I've still got my feet. I'm glad I'm still here. And then obviously from that, we can move forward, and each day is a blessing. And it's changed my mindset on a few things. So,
yeah, I mean, with the rehabilitation process, because I remember when it first happened. Well, we obviously know each other anyway, and through social media, I saw some updates from you. You were kind of wheelchair bound for quite a while. How was how was the progression? So what did it take to get from the wheelchair to kind of get strong enough to kind of get on the crutches? I mean, was there any particular type of rehab that you had to do, or?
I was because in my right leg, I don't know if a lot of people listening will know this, when they operated on my right leg when I come to, I had an external fixator in my right leg, which is a metal plate on the outside of your leg as opposed to being inside. Yeah. So because I broke my tib and fib in my right leg roundabout in the same spot, and then my ankle and my heel bone, I shattered my heel bone in my right leg. Okay. So that was pinned to hold it in place at the bottom. So that had pins in that went into the side of my heel like that, and then in the front it was pinned like that. So two pins like that in my shin. So that was in for a period of 6 weeks. Once that came off, that leg then went into a cast. They didn't cast my left leg at all because I weren't moving. It wasn't the only cast if it's likely to get knocked or anything like that. Yeah. So the first leg I was able to stand up on was my left leg because it was far further ahead in terms of the recovery process. Okay. So basically, I think I was still in a wheelchair about 8-9 months ago. So what would that be? March, April time. I was still in a wheelchair. Okay. So from that, obviously, Julie was going out to work. I was bedbound. She had to make sure that I had everything I needed. Luckily at the house I lived in at the time, I had a downstairs toilet in case I needed to get to the loo. I had a commode that I could shimmy onto from the edge of the bed. And then I just had to zoom myself across the room with the power of my shoulders to make sure I could reach the door handle and then pull myself through. And then I had my own techniques. So yeah, it's mad the way the human brain can adapt to situations is unreal.
Right. So
and you don't know it until you're in that situation.
Right, because now I'm glad you said that, because now I'm going to lead into the kind of the motivation aspect of it. So a lot of people say when they get in a situation where even if it's like a minor injury, if they compete in a sport, be it cricket or whatever they do, some people when they get injured they do get quite kind of down and out about it. But I think yours is a very good case of you've been in just a really, really bad situation and you were able to kind of pull yourself out, and you're now walking about. Obviously your journey is still not complete, you're still rebuilding, but what did you do mentally? Like what is it that you were able to do that you were able to kind of motivate yourself, and how did you go about it just to kind of give yourself that drive?
It wasn't just me motivating myself, and this is where I'll touch upon it again because she deserves more credit than she's getting. I probably don't shout about it enough. I do obviously mention, but I was ready I was ready to give up at times. I was just I can't do it. I didn't know if I'm going to walk again, let alone even get back to a gym and lift, let alone compete. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she said when I got home, when I got the news that they were sending me home from the hospital, Julie and her daughters had gone home and moved the bedroom downstairs into where our dining room area was, so I wasn't having to tackle the stairs when I got in. But she'd set it up whereas there's pictures of me somewhere where I'm sat on the end of the bed with my external fixator in one leg, my moon boot on my left leg, and then I've got bands tied around my neck, and I've got weights under the bed where I'm just moving my back. So I'm deadlifting and working like that. I didn't want to do any of that. And she went, you need to do it. You need to keep moving, because I'd been so stagnant.
Yeah.
The risk of clotting after an injury like that is unreal. I was on blood thinners. The amount of tablets I was on was unbelievable. So some of them were just knocking me spark out, to be honest. But once I got used to them and like built up a tolerance to them, that's when I was able to train and just start doing bits. I was bicep curling, I was doing triceps. I was even with the external fixator in my leg, I had my rubber bands that I warm up with at the gym to loosen my shoulder joints up even now, and I had it on the end of my foot, so I was working my ankle, rotating it, even with the external fixator in. So people saying that they can't do it, they've got this, they've got that, I'm sorry, there's always a way. All you've got to do is think about it and think outside the box, ask for advice. There's people that will know, there'll be people that have been in those situations. I mean, it does just adapt. If you want to do it, if you want to do it and you're willing to do it, you will find a way, and that's it. I was low, trust me, I'll be honest. I was down and out. I was down and out, and I was ready to just sort of like say, no, I've had enough. And then this lady here that I've got just kept in me, shut, you can't do it, you need to keep going. And I did. And then every day, step by step, I got more and more motivated, and I'm like, you're right. And then this is where I am now. Come back, I was unsure a week before that comp whether I was going to lift enough, but it didn't matter. Even if I didn't win, even if I pulled last, I've already won.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I'm there and I'm back on that platform where I belong, so I've already won.
I was going to say, shout out to your lady Julie for, honestly, it sounds like she was a big driving force.
But again, like this, I'll touch upon this now quickly as well. That wasn't just my injuries. So basically, when I had my injuries, one of my friends, Jason Knights, as a joiner, come over and offered to build a wheelchair ramp for me outside the house. Yeah, so he built the ramp, and then a few weeks after it had been built, we had the first frost. Julie was heading out to work, and she slipped on it and jarred her back, herniating one of her lower lumbar discs in her back. So when she went and got scanned, it was crushing, not just touching, it was crushing the sciatic nerve. So then she was due for surgery in April, then it was lockdown.
Yeah.
So the surgery got cancelled. So then it got moved to July. She went in and had that surgery in July. That surgery was a success. And then we went and had a day out at Half Moon Bay over at Heysham. And then there was a guy driving towards us on the wrong side of the road, just veered because he was looking for someone on his dash. So I've had to swerve. And it's then put her back out again. So she needs further surgery.
Oh no.
So that's still ongoing now as we speak. That's our current situation.
Right. I'm sorry to hear about that. It's
yeah. She battles on. She doesn't moan about it. She just cracks on. Honestly, she's a proper warrior.
It goes to show behind every strong man there's a strong woman, eh?
Yeah, there is. She's stronger than me, dude. I'm telling you.
So, in terms of because you mentioned a competition that took place. So just for, obviously me and Matt know each other, so we can talk about it freely. But just for the benefit of you guys, so basically, obviously Matt was out for a while. He's now a lot stronger, and he actually went out and competed in an event. Was it just a pull only event?
It was the Lincolnshire Deadlift Championships, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously from my perspective, I was just like massively impressed because, like you said, even if you went in and just lifted an empty bar, that's massive considering where you were.
Yeah.
But what was your mindset going in there? Like you touched on it before when you said it was like just getting up there is a victory in itself. But did you have any targets or? I
knew what I wanted to pull, and I pulled that. I would have liked it to have been a bit more with my prep, like going into it. I had my prep going into it was absolutely bang on, and to be honest as well, they always say save your biggest lifts until your competitions, and I've somehow always managed to build up to it, prep for it, and it's always been that way. So my biggest that lift that I did in that competition was my biggest lift post injury. So the biggest lift in the gym was about 340, 342, and I pulled 345 on the day. So it was over and above anything that I'd ever pulled in the gym post injury.
Wow, I mean, if someone said to me, based on your situation, you know, he's gonna go for 100 kilos, I would have been clapping you. But for you to say that amount, that's just incredible, man. But
And then here's the thing as well, and I don't know if I'll do it or not. I'd love to do it. I told them that I'll go back next September and pull 400 plus.
now there's a goal to achieve, eh? I guess the question is though, how would you plan to make it happen? I mean, but then again, your rehab is progressing nicely, isn't it? So it's very
yeah. Just prep, mate. Just prep, and obviously. There's a few things I need to look at. I've dropped 1.5 stone recently, purposefully, but I'm still sitting at 23 stone, so that gives you an idea of where I'm at. The heaviest I've ever been is 25 stone, which that was too big for me. I was struggling with my breathing and whatnot. Could perhaps get another stone off maybe and lean up and just become faster, but obviously keep my strength. I mean, in training the other night, I hit a 140 kilo log again, which is the biggest log I've hit post injury. And my prep, and I've got an issue. I've got a long running issue with my left shoulder. I've got a bit of an impingement issue, which Zai, the physio at Mo's, is currently working on with me to manipulate me, and he batters me every time he gets a chance. So yeah. That's where that is at the minute. It's just about prepping properly, working the percentages. So every time I'll cycle it on a 6 or 8 or 12 week cycle, get to 95%, and then drop it back, and then work my 5x5s again. It'll just like Master Mo says.
Yeah, he's a big proponent of the 5x5s, and you know what? I've seen the results. Yeah, it works. Yeah. So, well, shout out to Mo for that one.
Definitely.
So, with regards to the chat we're having today, we are starting to reach the end point of the time cutoff. But I just want to take this opportunity to ask you: is there anything that you want to say? Or is there anything else you want to get off your chest, or any kind of message you want to get out to anybody, or the people that follow you? Because you do have a big following, and there are a lot of people in the strongman community that
just basically, honestly, like my mindset changed. If it's so easy, and people do it on a regular basis, I see it day in, day out. They only focus on the negatives, the negative jibes, the negative vibes that people put across. Now, this has come from my lady, and it was just a case of just sit back a minute, look at the situation, and no matter how bad or how dark a situation may seem, how deep or how low you think you might be, there's always a positive to take onto it, to hold on to. Now, if you do that each and every day, with each and every moment, and all you're thinking is positive vibes, that mindset will slowly start to switch. There was a guy on Instagram as well, and I can't think what his page was, but I looked into it and I got it from him as well. And it's just the way it read, and he was like, it's so easy, just like what I've said then, it's so easy to people to hang on to negative thoughts, to negative vibes, negative mindsets. It's the way we're human people. I'm not saying I don't get negative thoughts, of course I do. But as soon as I do, I get hold of it and flick it around. And as soon as I do that, the whole mindset changes. And since I've been able to, it actually gives me a little adrenaline rush knowing that I can do that.
Yeah.
So if you can flip those thoughts, there's negatives in everybody's life. Of course there is, without doubt. But there's also positives. But we're all so quick to jump on the negatives.
Yes.
Change your mindset. Flip your mindset. Think of the positives. And just draw a line under the rest and move forward. It's all right looking back, but don't look back and beat yourself up. look back to see how far you've come.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's a way and a means to do it, and that's the best thing I can say.
I was going to say thank you for that, because I'm all about the positivity. Like, all my podcasts are about trying to highlight the good, because obviously our area.
Yeah, which is how it should be.
Yeah. And then I think in terms of that, like, I'm going to take a lot away from that as well, because obviously I like my lifting, I like my sport, and I'm going to hopefully use some of the motivation that you give me to obviously try and be a bit more positive myself. But I just want to say thank you for taking your time out, because this isn't something that's easy to talk about. And I really appreciate you doing this. And hopefully...
You're very welcome, bro.
And hopefully in maybe next year, we'll catch up again, and we'll see how that 400 kg target's going, bro.
Definitely. Well, just before you sign off as well, I turned 40 in January 2022. So my goals currently, whether I achieve them or not, is a different story. But positivity, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go after the England Strongest Masters title. I want a podium at the Britain's Strongest Masters. I want a place at the World's Strongest Masters. And if I pull 400 next year, I'm going to go after the world record deadlift for the Masters, which is currently 436. So I'm going to hopefully pull 440 at 40.
You know what? I believe that you can do it as well. So, yeah.
We'll just have to see. It's all about the process. So I'm game for it, like. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that's a good note to end the podcast on, and I'll set myself a reminder to catch you up soon then, eh?
Good lad.
No worries. Well, thanks a lot for your time, and I appreciate it. And hopefully this will be uploaded in due course. And also, if there's any links or anything like that, I'm going to add them to the description of this video, so you can reference Matt's Facebook page and all stuff like that. I'll get all that in the description as well. So thanks a lot for your time, Matt. Signing off.
Yeah, no worries. Take care, bro.
Take care.